Those of you who have felt the constant longing to find yourself. What led you to feel that way and how did you go about finding yourself? And quote. The constant feeling that I'm not good enough for the people I want to be good enough for. In general, I want my parents to be actually proud of me and not proud in a bless her heart way. And I want to attract the kind of people I find attractive. I feel like if you just went through something challenging, then finding yourself again is the next steps. What led me was my diagnosis of lupus and my parents' divorce in the span of 6 months. What a crazy ass year. But 2022 ended in a good note. I don't know what finding yourself and quote even means. I recently read something along the lines of life isn't about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself, and it has honestly been a game changer. You can be whoever you want to be. For me, the feeling was caused by not being allowed to be myself. Being pressured into being someone else's idea of who I was. I'm still working on figuring out who I am. But the journey started with ditching the person who wouldn't allow me to be myself and then just doing everything that I thought would be cool to do. Pretty much all of it has been awesome. Some I'll never do again. But I'm glad I did it initially and discovered it wasn't for me. All just trial and error until you find what you like. Most of my life, I dedicated it to everyone around me / important to me. Even if they were shitty to me. I wore my heart on my sleeve and all it got me was trauma. And life-controlling depression. I had different personalities with everyone and never really thought for myself or of myself except all the things that looked or felt wrong about me. I have no idea who I am, but all I know is pain. I'm doing my best and hope I find peace soon. Same to all of you. What do I do if I have no family to turn to? Your family is only your family because you happen to be born by them. You didn't ask to be born. And certainly not to them. So you owe them nothing. If they have more of a negative impact on your life than a positive one, there's nothing wrong with cutting them out of your life. I'm sorry you're in this situation. It might be helpful to find a group of friends who share your interests or start a new hobby. If you're feeling suicidal, please find a professional to speak with. In the US, at least, we say that you cannot choose your family. But you can choose your friends. In my younger life, my friends always had my back. My family was simply indifferent. Not abusive. Same with my wife that came from a broken family. Now, with my own family, my wife and I are fiercely supportive and helpful. We probably border on obtrusive. But my family opted to spend night at the family home with us, so we must be doing something right. Hey, even if you cannot change your family, you can choose a family by heart. As I did. Find new friends and weave a band of trust and love over time. You don't need many friends, just a few who you can trust. Also find a passion or a hobby you can stick to. Wish you all the best. Medical, what has a year of vaping done to my body? If it helps your quality of life, it'll make you happier, healthier, and you will live longer. So that's the benefits, and for me they outweigh the risks. Weren't you using your body for the last 12 months? If anyone can answer your question, it's you. I guess if you hate life, continue on. Greater than what has a year of vaping done to my body? Well, it took us about 20 years before we figured out what smoking cigarettes does to your body. What makes you think we figured out for vaping already? Come back in 10ish years. And maybe then, someone might have a definitive answer for you. I can no longer breathe good without an inhaler. So there is a real downside. It's hard to say for sure. But obviously inhaling vape or flower isn't the greatest for your lungs. If you want a less damaging way to partake, consider edibles. In just a year, maybe slightly less lung capacity / more or easier inflammation of lung tissue. Possibly slightly worse gum / oral health. Nothing that is irreparable. Just make sure you maintain otherwise good health / hygiene habits. Men, what do you do for a living and do you enjoy it? I'm a welder right now. Trying to become a paid fireman. I'm happy as is. I don't mind the hard work and there's a lot of potential for me, starting at 19 and welding pipe for mechanical projects like boilers. If I can work my way to project management, then I'll have a job that pays me very well even without a college degree if I'm lucky. I'd still pick being a paid fireman any day. But that's a pipe dream in NJ, plus it isn't as financially secure. College professor, English. Just made full professor last year. I'm department chair and also run some of our other programs, like honors. That makes it a 12-month job. My students and coworkers are wonderful and so are the people I report to. The main drawback is pay, outside of law and business. Professors top out in the low 6 figures. That's not great given the level of competitiveness and the required PhD. I'm really happy with it, but I'm also very lucky. There are PhDs from better programs whose jobs are a lot worse. I'm a systems administrator, a server architect / integrator, and an automation developer for a contract firm who pimps me out to a well-known IT conglomerate who, in turn, contracts me out to a well-known aerospace company. Being a contractor, the company I work for takes in the majority of my paycheck. Unfortunately. So I don't get paid anywhere near what a full-time employee of either company I'm contracted to would. I just live in an area with a glut of IT people. So I take what I can get. But I work with some great people and it's a decent job. My partner makes twice what I do. So I'm not going hungry or hurting for some of the finer things in life. What's a secret your family doesn't think you know? But you do? That my uncle, deceased, was a registered sex offender. I was never introduced to him, and my dad, his brother, would never speak about him. I was told he passed away. And the excuse of "you never met him" was the reason I couldn't go to his funeral, yet my parents have dragged me to people's funeral that I never knee's funeral. They weren't even related to me. Got suspicious and searched my uncle's name up on one of those sex offender lists, and his name came up plus his face. Turns out he was caught touching a 3-year-old child at a park a few weeks before I was born. Scary. My parents were probably just protecting me. My well-known and affluent grandfather did not die of a heart attack in the 60s while taking a smoke break outside a diner during a snowstorm. We were told he was missing for days before officers arrived at my grandmother's doorstep to inform her that they had located his body buried in feet of snow. My grandma told my father on her deathbed that he had been soliciting prostitutes the day he died, and he was found days later dead in his car with his pants down to his ankles, supposedly suffered a heart attack after a performance with a hooker. My grandfather lied about where he was stationed in World War II. He confided some in me in his last years. But a few slip-ups on his part and some papers I found made me start questioning. He says he was stationed in Las Vegas at a supply warehouse the entire war. But has papers from the OSS. Knows how to hotwire a single-engine plane. And when I made some remark about a field manual saying to fire your gun into an enemy if your bayonet is stuck in them, he mumbled, "Yeah. Done that a few times." And quat. My mom and aunts all like to dodge the question. They may not even know it all themselves. But my older cousin and I both agree he probably stacked bodies across Europe.